Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. It is your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Please reach out to me directly. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com for pricing details. Today, we are discussing a lovely 250-piece steel limited edition from Zenith. This is the Defy Revival A3642, based on a watch first launched in 1969. It has an octagonal case and a 14-sided bezel. The original was a hardcore sports watch by the standards of its day. This one remains a sports watch, though by modern standards, its 37mm diameter case looks almost quaint. It is a wonderfully true-to-history revival of the original design. So it's 37mm in diameter, 13.9mm thick from lug tip to lug tip, 44.1mm with an 18mm spacing between the lugs. It has a vintage H profile style bracelet. We have a clamshell that flips open to unlock the clasp, pop it open. You can see, much like the original, it's all thin gauge stamped steel featuring period Zenith logos. You can see that the trend of vintage look and feel continues as you put it on the wrist. Listen to this. That's the vintage rattle that we associate with true vintage timepieces. So this one, which was based on a laser scan of an example from Zenith's factory museum, it is so true to history that eyes closed, you would even think by the feel and the sound that it's a real vintage watch. Now, being just over 44mm from lug to lug, it's very short across the wrist. So you can see over the top, it's nowhere near the edge of my wrist. It's also quite flat. Although it is 13.9mm thick, look how sloped that case flank is. It steps up several times, meaning a cuff could slide up and over this. And because it's so compact with no solid end links to the bracelet, I can recommend it for a wrist as small as 13.5 centimeters circumference. So ladies are definitely welcome to enjoy and partake. You can also see that it uses a conventional 18mm lug spacing. Although it looks at first glance like it might be an integrated bracelet, you can stick any 18mm with strap in there. The individual links, as you can see, are quite minimal. The outer links are solid, and so are the intermediate links, but the amount of space between them and the amount of air flowing through this bracelet means that they have a little bit more inherent play than a modern battleship anchor chain type of bracelet. This is very true to the 70s in feel, even if, as you look closely, you find that the solid links are built to a higher modern standard. Now, taking a quick look, we have removable links fixed by screws, and that on both sides to fine-tune the fit. We have many pairs of divots drilled throughout this clasp, so you can use your strap tool to move the bracelet inside the clasp to fine-tune the fit, in addition to adding or removing links. Now, you can also see that there are intermediate sized links built into the bracelet. So if you want to remove one of those, let's say you're between sizes with one of the larger links, you can use those to fine-tune the fit. The case features a minimalist satination on the lug hoods at the ends. Everything else is of high polish and quite dramatic. It has a lot of presence for a 37mm watch. You can see that the crown with the Zenith Star logo, it is a screw-down crown. The watch is 300 meters water resistant, so it's still very much a modern-day sports watch. Taking a quick look at the lume, there's no shortage of it. The hands in particular have a large amount of luminescence, easy to read in the dark, and also I like that they lume the seconds hand, so even in the dark, you know your watch is running. There's a lovely vignette or gradient fade to the dial, which is a sort of, I would still call it a gray bronze at the edges and silver gray at the center. It's an interesting watch because it almost looks like it's a grayscale dial, but it does have undertones of brown or bronze that give it just a little bit more warmth than grayscale would. Now you can see the hands at center are faceted rhodium-plated steel, a 1970s style, and then we have these wonderful indices outboard that at first glance look like they might be Roman numerals. Instead, what they are ridged appliques that have been faceted to create the twinkle of a cut gem. And you can see as you move this watch through the light, there's an awful lot of animation about those indices. There's a date with a faceted window between 4 and 5 o'clock. We have the Zenith star in a vintage font for both the Defy and the automatic script. Here we have a vintage Zenith font for the company name itself. Outboard, we have a printed scale for reading minutes and seconds. And then if you look carefully, you can see that the inner bezel has also been polished to reflect more light onto the dial, and it's quite effective. The reverse of the watch proves this to be a modern watch, as vintage timepieces did not have sapphire display casebacks. Here we have the Elite Caliber 670, automatic winding, with a unidirectional winding action, a 50-hour power reserve, a 4 Hz beat rate. It has a quick set date and a stop seconds or hacking feature. You could see it as an attractive 27 Joule movement that's considered to be on par with other thin, fine tractor movements, such as the Girard-Perregaux 3300 and the JLC 899. And of course, back in 1994, the Zenith Elite was the first Zenith caliber to have been designed on a computer. It's finished mostly by mechanical means, but quite attractively, and it definitely justifies the display case back with various elements polished, satinated, striped, and engine turned. It will impress your friends. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details. Now, just to clarify, some folks might ask, is this a plexiglass or is it a plexi-shaped sapphire? And it is the latter. It is a dramatically domed and boxed sapphire crystal designed to look like a plexiglass.